Hello everyone and welcome back to this brand new video. Now for today I have a historic deck for all of you. Now as you all know, historic anthology just dropped yesterday, and with the new card pool, new decks can be built, and I'm very excited for that. So this deck is revolved around Unburial rites. Now this is a reanimation deck, but how am I playing the strategy? I'm playing a tapa control deck that wins with reanimating spells. Now what are we trying to reanimate? And I'm sorry if you're already booing me. We're trying to reanimate Agent of Treachery, and I'm really sorry, I know you all hate this card, but this is such a good reanimation target, and I promise I won't be stealing any of my opponent's lands, so that might get me off the hook. Except if our opponent is playing fires. If our opponent is playing fires, I would not feel bad about stealing any of his lands, because he will steal our lands very soon. So another reanimation target is zetalpa. Zetalpa is super good because, like, come on, do you need even more keywords? I think that's enough. So the deck is a tap-out control deck, as I mentioned. Citrus Supplier, I'm going to explain to you a bit of the card choices. Citrus Supplier is good because it can mill 3 and then it can block for us, stall the game just a bit, and then mill 3 again. It's super good in this deck. Heartless Act is a good removal spell. Discovery Dispersal is a flexible card because not only does it fuel our graveyard strategy, it can also help us deal with things that we normally cannot deal with the dispersal part. Thought Erasure is good because it can slow down our opponent, or it can ensure that our reanimation spells resolve by taking down any counter spells. Thirst for Meaning is good because it can dump creatures into our graveyard and it can draw us into our combo pieces. Teferi is once again a way for us to either slow down our opponent with the bounce effect, or just a way to ensure that our reanimation spells resolve. Oath of Kaya is good because not only does it pair well with Thirst for Meaning, it also kills something and gains us some life. We need to make sure we get to the late game to reanimate things. Shatter the Sky is a board wipe. Of course, you're playing control, you need to play board wipe. Connive Concoct is good because it's a reanimation spell that's also flexible, that you can always use the connive part if you're like behind to kind of catch up. That's always good. Always keep in mind that you can use this as kind of a removal spell or a tempo card. Body Double is just another extra copy of Agent. Maybe sometimes you mill out your Agent and then you draw this, you can hardcast it as a 5 mana Agent. That's always good to do. Unburial Rites is the namesake card of the deck, and it's good because you can always mill it with your Citrus Supplier and hardcast it. That's super good. Now for the sideboard, sideboard will vary according to what you think will be meta, but this is what I have in mind. Now this is a new card and it's super good because it's going to deal with any Field of the Dead tokens. With this on the Field of the Dead tokens, or Field of the Dead, I mean decks are just land decks that are doing nothing, except for the new card Maze's End, but I'm sure that you can deal with Maze's End with Unmoored Ego, so you will be fine, trust me. Thief of Sanity is just something I like to side in because opponents will most likely side in a lot of graveyard hate post board, and Thief of Sanity can sometimes surprise them. If you have Pack Rats, you can also play Pack Rat, but I do not have them just yet, and I want to test out Thief of Sanity because it's one of my favorite cards. Shatter the Sky is there for matchups where we need additional board wipe. Dovin's Veto is just a counter spell. Mystical Dispute is good in case we're facing a control matchup. That way we can reanimate for 4 mana, and then Mystical Dispute if we have another mana available to us. Devout Decree is just there to deal with any annoying threats, and that's going to be pretty much it for the deck tech. If you want me to break down anything, if you want any questions about maybe what kind of sideboard might you play in the future, make sure to join our Discord server. It's going to be in the description down below, and I'm more than happy to break down any of my card choices to you. And without further ado, let's get into our games. Going into game number 1 of Esper Reanimator, and I'm very excited to play this deck. I'm positive that it can perform super well. If you're excited about the new historic anthology, if you want to see more historic brews, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I have a bunch of spicy decks coming up. There's an enchantment deck that I think all of you will love. Opponent has a Yorion in hand, meaning that he's probably playing fires. Is this hand good enough against fires? Probably not. This hand is a bit better, I guess. I mean, Agent is not something I would want to have, but I mean, you can always just hardcast it. Might just bottom a land at this stage. I think bottoming a land is not the worst idea, especially that I'm honestly not sure about this in this position, but I think just keeping the Agent of Treachery is good enough in my opinion, because we should be able to hardcast it very soon. I would have played the Chapel turn 1 if I did not draw the planes, because it would have entered tap, but now I can guarantee that it doesn't enter tapped. And now we're just going to... Alright, so opponent is not actually playing fires, he's playing the Explorer package. That's cool. Shatter the Sky is a good pickup against a creature deck, of course. Let's just try to deal with any of his recursion. Yarok is not something we want to see, but I mean, you could always board wipe that. And we can just take it next turn. I mean, that's also a good option. Next turn we can just play a chapel tap, maybe it shouldn't matter, and then thought erasure. That's also a good line of play. So we're going to wait as much as possible before using Shatter the Sky. Taking 3 per turn is not the biggest problem, honestly. So let's just thought erasure next turn. Thirst for Meaning doesn't change our plan, does it? I mean, he can't cast Yarok just yet, so do we consider that? I'd rather just see what he drew than to just wait a full turn. I think we just take Yarok at this stage. We don't need an additional land, do we? I think we should do without a land. And yes, I did mention that we should hardcast Agent, but now we have Thirst for Meaning to just dump it into grave and reanimate it that way, so I think we should be fine. Opponent's probably gonna play the Jade Light. If opponent is plays around what he thinks we might have, he should not play it, but he does anyways. That's fine, opponent. And Yarok off the top. I guess our opponent is just destined to play Yarok at this stage. And Yarok isn't the biggest problem, especially if you gain control of it with Agent. Let's just Shatter the Sky, have him draw his Yarok, draw another spell opponent, that's fine. I think the problem would be if he draws way too many ETB effects with Yarok, but he apparently does not just yet. Teferi Bounce is not the worst idea. I mean, yes, we did just not do anything for a full turn, but we have an active Teferi now on the field, and Teferi is something that he probably wants to deal with. We have an Unburial rites, meaning that we can set up Agent of Treachery in the graveyard, reanimate it. That's good. So Time Walk did work. We're not gonna Time Walk our opponent once again because it's not worth it. We are going to discard Agent of Treachery, and we keep another one because we can always hardcast it. I don't think we do. So we are going to play the land, and now we're just going to Discovery Dispersal, try to hit other things, or maybe have a clearer idea of what we're going to do next turn. Thought Erasure, is it something I want to keep? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5. If I draw this next turn, that's 6 lands. 6 lands, meaning that I could Shatter the Sky and Thought Erasure, and then turn after just Unburial rites take over the game. I think that's good enough of a play. I think that's good enough of a play, especially that opponent cannot Agent of Treachery next turn in case he is playing it. Take 2 of my permanents. That's good. Alright, so I think we're most definitely going to just board wipe next turn. Land, you can take all of the lands you want. Walker apparently is not good enough for this matchup. This is not something that I expected. Does he have the colors? I think he does have the colors. No, he does not have the white just yet. That's good. Play another threat opponent. Make my Shatter just a bit better. Do you want to do that? Apparently you might want to. Do you want to do that, opponent? Maybe he does not. Yeah, I think we're in a good spot, honestly. Like, I mean, this can still destroy a non-land permanent, and can destroy a creature, destroy an agent, but we're fine with that. We're gonna Thought Erasure first, see what he has in hand. Jade Light Ranger and Field of the Dead. That's gonna be very annoying, but we can just gain control of it next turn. We don't want lands, obviously. I mean, the route of hardcasting Agent Treachery is still an option, but I don't think we are going with it just yet. Now, if he plays Field of the Dead, gets a zombie, we can still just gain control of it. That's fine. And maybe in the far future, we can also just make our own Field of the Dead tokens, and that's, yes, not soon, because we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lands with different names, but we could just get to it at some stage. Alright, Yarok is going to be definitely annoying to deal with, but we can just gain control of it the next turn. Merfolk Branch Walker, get a land. What could you have on top that would be annoying? Our Border Grazer is obviously not something that's annoying. We just Unburial rites at this stage, honestly, and get back the Agent of Treachery. Take his Field of the Dead, most likely. And now we just have an active Field of the Dead maybe next turn, because we can just always reanimate another Agent of Treachery, take control of another land. That should be fine. Another Unburial rites might be something I consider. Actually, I'd rather have it in the graveyard. I don't think we have that many targets to reanimate at this point. That should be good. Thirst for Meaning is always a good spell, especially that now we can Thirst for Meaning, Unburial rites, double spelling at this stage of the game feels good. He's probably, if he destroys our... That was a very bad play, opponent, because we can just like cast it again this turn. I mean, I know that you hate that card, but it's not always good to destroy it if I can just hardcast it. I mean, not hardcast it, if I can reanimate it next turn. He's probably trying to kill us with combat damage. I think that turns on our field, does it? Yes, it does. So we have an active Field of the Dead. So who's like the Field of the Dead deck now, opponent? Stitcher is good because we can just cast it. I think discarding Dispersal and... Actually, I'd much rather have Discovery at this stage because like it just gives us more of a choice of what we need, what we can and cannot do. Let's just Discovery before going into Unburial rites because we do have the option of doing that. Agent of Treachery, Teferi is just... do I keep the Agent just to hardcast it? I think we should because we can. And it's always an option. Let's just Unburial rites, get back another Agent of Treachery. Always feels good to do that. Sorry opponent, I'm really sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just take more of his lands. He's probably gonna tap it in response. He does not even tap it in response. He gave up on this game. He gave up on this game. Opponent, do not give up on this game. Alright, attacking is a very bad choice in my opinion because we can just do this. And now I can reanimate Agent once more. Trust me, opponent, you don't want me to reanimate Agent a bunch of times. It's not in your favor. If he plays Yarok, I'm just gonna gain control of it. Yeah. Now we have an Unburial rites active with a Yarok. That's always good. And we can just play Teferi, bounce our Agent. Yeah. Opponent, I would have done the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. Alright, so probably gonna bring this in because it's an annoying Field of the Dead deck. Thief isn't the best just because he plays Arboreal Grazer in the main board, meaning that you can just deal with it. Ashiok is an option because it can render his Find Finality useless. Mystical Dispute is a choice as well. I mean, he's probably going to side in a bunch of Graveyard Hate, so do we cut down a bit? I think Heartless Act isn't the best, Oath of Kaya isn't the best either, especially because they don't deal with that many things. The Explore package renders this useless most of the time. It only deals with Yarok, but I'm not going to play a card just to deal with one threat. What else can we cut? I think this is good enough because it can gain control of any of his creatures. I think we cut down on 1 Unburial rites, 1 Agent. Alright, I think that should be enough, especially that I do believe that the opponent is going to be bringing in a bunch of Graveyard Hate. So I'm considering converting this deck into a Reanimator deck main board and then just make it a transformational sideboard, maybe switch into Planeswalker Control, maybe switch into Planeswalker into Control and just hardcast my threats. That's also an option. We're obviously going to mulligan this hand because we don't have enough lands to do anything, and the same applies to this hand actually. Opponent is choosing to keep 6 cards or to mulligan. I think if opponent mulligans, I would definitely enjoy that because I'm not keeping a good hand. I think this hand is good enough. Let's just bottom our Thought Erasure and our Teferi. I mean, it's quite sketchy to do that, but like Teferi is gonna get us back some cards, but at the same time, I'd rather have a Dispute. I mean, Dispute doesn't have that many cards in his deck, except for Yarok and Risen Reef. So I think we're just gonna do that. And yes, it feels a bit bad, but what can I do? And of course, opponent goes for the turbo. I play 700 cards in 1 turn route. Alright, so we're just gonna play Stitcher Supplier, run it out, have a blocker in case he plays anything next turn, and try to get anything. Alright, so we now just need a reanimation target and we are almost set. Playing Teferi, bouncing the Stitcher Supplier is always a decent enough play. We're probably gonna play Thought Erasure next and look at his hand, understand what the hell is happening, because I do not want him to play maybe Circular Shroud, Scape Shift, a bunch of things I don't want him to play next turn. Alright, another Teferi means that we are most definitely going to bounce Stitcher Supplier, recast it again. Okay, do I care about Uro more or Yarok more? I think we just deal with Yarok because Uro is just gonna come back the turn after. I mean, sure, he can draw a land. You can, draw a card off of Uro, but that's fine. That should be fine. I'm not gonna take something that can come back the turn after, or very soon at least. I mean, it's not gonna come back directly the turn after, but it's gonna come back at some stage. We're probably gonna cast the Teferi, bounce our Stitcher, try to get into our target that way. Let's just play our Teferi, bounce our Stitcher Supplier. Now we can just cast it next turn, maybe cast it a fairy if we do need to do that. And we do hit a land as well, so that's good. Because our main problem was not having enough lands, and we finally get some lands. Golos is not something I wanted to see, I'm gonna be very honest with all of you. I mean, at least it doesn't have it turned on just yet. Field of the Dead is not turned on just yet as well, unless our opponent has a land in hand. Agent of Treachery is in our hand, which is sad, because I wanted it to be in grave. But I think we're not anytime near hard casting yet, and of course auto tapper taps my only blue source, of course, just auto tapper things. Going to plus, and we're going to do it a fairy. I don't think we wanted a fairy. Yeah, I think we just pass, block with Stitcher Supplier, try to get an Agent of Treachery into our graveyard that way. If opponent doesn't attack, I mean, just did not attack, and we're still holding down the fort with the Stitcher Supplier. I don't think that's going to happen. Opponent just waits to remove a spell on a Stitcher Supplier, that's good. Agent? No agent just yet. No luck just yet. Although I did side out too, if I'm not mistaken, so I don't get to complain. Let's see. Concoct is probably what we're gonna go with. Pay 2 life. Connive, Concoct. I mean, I'm not gonna take control of an Arboreal Grazer, that's for sure. Opponent, do you have a dispute in hand? No. That's super good. This package is super good. Now we're just gonna get back our zetalpa. And next turn we can just have our opponent not do anything with this Field of the Dead. The Field of the Dead is now literally just a land. Tokens are just going to die, and that's always good to do. Cross Spiral, I hope he gets a land. Get a land. Yes, Field of the Dead is online, but it's not gonna do anything. Literally not gonna do anything. Zetalpa just deals with anything he might plan on doing. Uro just gets taken care of also by Zetalpa. Zetalpa is such an underrated magic card for our reanimation strategy, at least. He's on a 3-turn clock if I'm not wrong, unless he wants to lose his Yorion to a Zetalpa. He's probably gonna he's gonna go search for another Field of the Dead if I'm not wrong, which is way better for us, because that just means that our enchantment is just gonna deal with more of his deck. That's super good to do. I told you this card is gonna be insane, and insane it shall be just now. Yes, opponent, your Field of the Dead is very, very scary, especially when I just drop this and render it useless. Oops, you build your deck to capitalize around Field of the Dead. Well, too bad. That's what you get for playing Field of the Dead. And that ends the concede, so with that, let's go into game 2.